Your mind is racing with 100 different decisions right now. You are navigating career uncertainty, an overwhelming flood of information, and a world that feels constantly connected yet deeply isolating. This mental noise is the defining challenge of modern life. But what if the clearest path forward was mapped out over 2,000 years ago? The ancient philosophy of Stoicism provides a surprising toolkit for cutting through today's complexity. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is not about dusty historical ideas. It is a practical guide for living with greater wisdom and far less anxiety. In this video, we will explore how key Stoic principles, from the dichotomy of control to the art of embracing your path, can bring immediate clarity to your most difficult choices. You will walk away with a mental operating system for resilience and purpose. We will uncover how a simple pause can diffuse frustration and why reflecting on life's natural transitions can be the ultimate motivator. What single modern problem feels most confusing to you right now? The single most powerful tool for clear thinking is the Stoic dichotomy of control. This foundational principle is your first step toward cutting through the noise of any complex situation. It begins with a simple but radical act of sorting. You learn to distinguish between what is within your power and what is not. Your own judgments, your intentions, and your actions are yours to command. Everything else, from the outcome of a project to the opinions of other people, ultimately lies beyond your direct authority. The Stoic teacher Epictetus opened his manual with this very idea, stating that some things are up to us and some are not. This is not a call to passivity, but an invitation to profound focus. Think about the modern quest for social media validation. The number of likes or shares your post receives is not within your control. You cannot force people to engage. What you can control is the thoughtfulness of your content, the integrity of your message, and the decision to post something of genuine value. Applying this filter instantly declutters the mental experience. The anxiety of waiting for external approval diminishes, and your energy redirects toward the only part of the process you truly own, your own effort. So take a moment and bring to mind one current worry. Now mentally sort it. What specific parts of this situation are genuinely within your influence, your actions, or your responses? And which elements are simply outside that circle, dependent on other people, on chance, or on circumstances you cannot dictate? This simple act of categorization is the beginning of your mental freedom. Our culture is obsessed with the finish line, often leaving us anxious long before we even reach the starting block. We tie our sense of worth and success to a specific outcome, a promotion, a sale, a particular level of recognition. But Stoicism offers a powerful alternative, a mental shift from being results-oriented to being action-oriented. This is the practice of cognitive detachment, where you pour your best effort into the process itself while releasing your tight grip on the final result. The Roman philosopher Seneca captured this mindset perfectly when he advised that we should prepare our minds to welcome whichever outcome arrives. This is not about expecting failure, but about embracing a profound freedom from the tyranny of a single desired result. Consider the process of applying for a new job. You can meticulously research the company, prepare thoughtful answers, and present yourself with genuine confidence during the interview. These are your actions entirely within your control. The final decision, however, rests with the hiring manager, their internal budget, or the unique chemistry with another candidate. These factors lie far outside your circle of influence. By focusing exclusively on the quality of your own preparation and performance, you replace the anxiety of waiting for a yes or no with the quiet confidence of knowing you did your part with integrity. Think back to a recent personal goal, perhaps a project you proposed or a difficult conversation you needed to have. How much of your mental energy was consumed by picturing one specific perfect ending? Now consider how your experience might have shifted if you had invested that same energy solely into the integrity of your own actions, into the things you could actually command. That tight feeling in your chest, the mental loop of a frustrating email or a tense conversation, can make a single moment feel like your entire world. The Stoics had a remarkable exercise for exactly this feeling, a mental technique called the view from above. It is a deliberate shift in perspective, an invitation to pull back from the intense close-up of your current problem and see your life from a much wider lens. Imagine you are rising above your city, then your country, until the entire planet is a pale blue dot suspended in a vast, silent cosmos. Your individual life, with all its urgent concerns, is one small story among billions unfolding on that tiny sphere. Marcus Aurelius regularly practiced this, reminding himself in his meditations to look at the things of the world as if looking down from a high place above. He would reflect on the countless cities and nations that have risen and faded, the innumerable people who have lived with their own passionate hopes and fears, all now part of the quiet earth. This is not meant to diminish your experience, but to grant it a profound sense of proportion. That disagreement with a coworker, that anxiety about a social slight, loses its sharp edge when placed against the backdrop of centuries. The drama of workplace dynamics, so consuming in the moment, begins to look like a brief, intricate dance on a very large stage. The next time a minor conflict or a professional setback threatens to overwhelm you, try this. Pause and mentally project yourself forward 5 years or even 10. Look back at this present moment from that future vantage point. How much of this current frustration will you even remember? How much will it have truly mattered in the larger narrative of your life? This cosmic zoom out does not solve your problems for you, but it returns you to them with a calmer mind and a clearer sense of what is genuinely worth your energy. There is a profound difference between accepting your circumstances and actively loving them. This is the heart of the Stoic concept of Amor Fati, a Latin phrase that means a love of one's fate. It is the deliberate practice of not just tolerating the unexpected turns and challenges of life, but welcoming them as essential threads in the fabric of your story. The Stoic thinker Epictetus, who understood great difficulty firsthand, expressed it as a simple guide. Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do. This outlook is the ultimate answer to the inner struggle that can deepen our discomfort. When you push against what is real, you carry two weights, first from the situation itself, and then from your own frustration. Amor Fati invites you to set down that second weight completely. Consider a project you care about that suddenly shifts despite your dedicated work. The usual reaction might be disappointment, a feeling of lost time, maybe even doubt. But seen through the lens of loving your fate, that same moment changes. The shift is no longer a setback, but a chance to grow. It becomes an opportunity to build resilience, to gather insights about preparation or connection that an easy success might never have offered. It could even guide you toward a new direction, one more true to yourself, that you might have been too hesitant to find on your own. This new view turns a hurdle into energy. The 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, who was deeply inspired by the Stoics, later expressed this spirit with his own words. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. This is not about passive surrender, but about an active, vibrant partnership with life itself. Bring to mind one recent letdown, something that felt like a genuine difficulty. Now ask yourself one simple question. How could this exact situation, with all its seeming roughness, be the very thing that readies me for what lies ahead? Perhaps a cancelled plan opened up quiet space for a moment of needed reflection. Maybe a professional no made room for a better fit you had not yet noticed. By choosing to love your fate, you stop being a passenger in your story and start becoming its writer. This practice may sound counterintuitive, but it is one of the most empowering tools the Stoics left us, the Premeditation of Challenges. Do not mistake this for a pessimistic dwelling on what could go wrong. It is a systematic exercise in mental preparedness, a way to strengthen your mind against the surprise of difficulty by visiting potential obstacles in your imagination before they ever arrive in reality. In a world of economic shifts and personal transitions, this is not about fearing the future, but about fortifying your inner foundation. Seneca wrote extensively on this, urging his readers to regularly contemplate the possibility of change in circumstances, shifts in resources, or adjustments in personal well-being. His aim was not to create fear, but to reveal a profound truth, that we possess an inner resilience that can meet even these significant life events. By mentally walking through a scenario you find challenging, you disarm its power to surprise and unsettle you. You come to a quiet realization, I can navigate this. Take the example of preparing for a difficult conversation you have been avoiding. By sitting down beforehand and calmly considering the various ways the other person might respond, perhaps with hesitation, strong feelings, or a different point of view, you are not inviting conflict. You are building a map of the emotional landscape. When you then enter the actual discussion, those potential reactions are no longer intimidating unknowns. They are simply possibilities you have already considered in your mind, allowing you to remain calm, focused, and present, able to listen and respond with clarity instead of being overwhelmed by your own worry. So let me ask you this reflective question. What is one thing you deeply hope to maintain, your professional path, a valued connection, your current sense of wellness? Now, how could the simple act of mentally preparing for a shift in that area, not with dread, but with a quiet acceptance of your own capacity to adapt, actually increase your peace of mind and sense of strength today? That craving for something new, something more, is a constant whisper in modern life. We are taught to want, to acquire, to reach for the next rung on a ladder that never seems to end. But the Stoics identified this very impulse as a primary source of our unease, and they developed a powerful antidote they called the discipline of desire. This is not about suppressing all wants, but about learning to distinguish between the natural desires that support a good life and the artificial ones that chain us to discontent. A healthy desire for nourishment, for learning, for meaningful connection, these guide us toward well-being. The trouble begins when we confuse these with the desperate hunger for external things, for status symbols, for the approval of strangers. The Stoic teacher Epictetus offered a clear warning about this confusion. He said, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desire, but by eliminating it." He meant the ceaseless wanting for what is not ours to have, for what lies outside the realm of our own character and actions. The entire framework of Stoic desire is about a radical realignment. You train yourself to want only what is truly good, which is virtue, and only what is truly up to you, which is your own judgment and effort. Everything else, from wealth to reputation, is preferred but ultimately indifferent to your ability to live a life of excellence. This philosophy stands in direct opposition to the engine of modern consumerism, which profits by making you feel perpetually incomplete. That advertisement promising happiness with a new car, that social media feed showcasing a seemingly perfect lifestyle. These are all designed to trigger a want for something outside your control. Applying this discipline brings immediate clarity. Take the powerful want for a specific luxury item. The Stoic approach is not to simply deny the feeling, but to examine it. Is this object truly good in itself, or is it neutral? Is my want rooted in a genuine need, or in a hope that it will confer a status I feel I lack? The object itself is beyond your control. You cannot will it into your possession. But your judgment about it, your decision to save for it without attachment, or to recognize it as unnecessary for your peace, that is entirely within your power. This shift redefines the entire experience. The anxious energy spent longing for the thing transforms into the calm power of making a conscious choice about it. Genuine contentment is not found in the next purchase or promotion, but in this quiet mastery over your own wants. So, bring to mind one strong want you are holding right now. Look at it with gentle curiosity. Ask yourself, what is the root of this feeling? Is it leading me toward my own best self, or is it pulling me toward a version of happiness that depends entirely on something I cannot command? Stoicism is a philosophy of active engagement with the world, not a retreat from it. This brings us to the second discipline, the discipline of action. Where the first discipline guides what we want, this one directs what we do. It is the principle of acting for the common good and in accordance with your essential nature. Every action you take, from a simple email to a major life choice, can be infused with a sense of purpose that goes beyond your immediate self-interest. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this in his private writings, advising, "Do the next right thing with kindness and humility." This is your moral compass for navigating the gray areas of modern life. Consider a common business dilemma. You face a decision that could boost quarterly profits by taking a shortcut, perhaps by using a less durable material that affects quality, or by placing heavy demands on your team to meet a tight deadline. A purely self-interested perspective might see only the financial gain, but the Stoic framework asks a different question. Is this action in accordance with virtue, with honesty and justice? Does it contribute to the shared well-being of the team, the customers, and the community you serve? Choosing the ethical path, even if it means a slightly lower profit, is an act of strength. It builds long-term trust and fosters a resilient, dedicated team. This is not about being naive to business realities, but about recognizing that the most sustainable success is built on a foundation of integrity. Your professional role is just one stage for this practice. It applies with equal force to your personal relationships. Think about a difficult conversation you know you need to have. The easy action might be to avoid it, to protect your own temporary comfort. The Stoic action is to approach it with honesty and a genuine intention to understand, to serve the shared good of the relationship itself, even when it is challenging. So, in your current role or your closest relationships, is there an action you are taking that could be better aligned not just with your own benefit, but with serving a wider circle of good? Your mind has a space no external storm can ever touch. This is the Stoic idea of the inner citadel, a fortress of calm built not from stone, but from your own reason and virtue. It is the ultimate source of resilience, a private refuge you can return to when the noise of the world becomes overwhelming. Marcus Aurelius described this practice beautifully, writing, "People look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills. But this is altogether unphilosophical when you can at any moment retreat into your own mind. Nowhere is there a more peaceful or less crowded retreat." In an age of endless news cycles and constant social pressures, this inner sanctuary is not a luxury. It is a necessity for keeping your balance. Think of the last time you faced strong online feedback or a professional challenge. The immediate reaction is often a wave of unease or a feeling that your entire worth is being questioned. This is the exact moment to practice that inward step. Instead of getting pulled into the emotional current, you can take a mental pause and return to your citadel. From that place of quiet strength, you can observe the feedback without letting it define you. You can ask, is there any useful insight here I can learn from? Or is this simply something to let pass? Your self-worth is no longer tied to the opinion of others, but is anchored securely in your own character and your commitment to doing your best. This inner space is not built in a day. It is strengthened through daily practices that renew your connection to your core self. The simple habit of morning journaling, where you clarify your intentions for the day, lays one brick. A few minutes of quiet reflection, away from all screens, reinforces the walls. These are not complicated rituals, but they are essential upkeep for your mental fortress. What daily practice, even for just 5 minutes, could help you fortify your own inner citadel against the busyness of modern life? A difficult email lands in your inbox and instantly your heart sinks. That feeling of distress, however, did not come from the words on the screen alone. It was born in the split second you judged those words as a personal challenge, a question of your professional standing. The core of this wisdom teaches that we are troubled not by events, but by the opinions we form about them. This is the practice of objective judgment, a mental discipline for reclaiming your peace by examining the very lens through which you see the world. The ancient teacher Epictetus stated it with gentle clarity. People are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Every event that reaches us is first a raw, neutral impression. It is just information. It carries no inherent emotional charge until our mind rushes in to label it as good or bad, challenging or welcome. The sound of a closed door is just a vibration in the air. It is our judgment that instantly paints it as a sign of frustration, and that is the moment our own unease or anxiety is born. This skill is your essential filter for the modern world. Think about the constant stream of news headlines and social media posts. Each one is designed to trigger a value judgment, to make you feel concerned, worried, or uneasy. When you practice objective judgment, you learn to receive the information without immediately adopting the emotional story attached to it. You see the headline not as a definitive crisis, but as an initial impression, one piece of a much larger and more complex story. This does not make you cold or uncaring. It makes you clear-headed, able to respond with purpose rather than react from a place of stirred emotion. Apply this to that piece of thoughtful feedback at work. The raw information is a collection of sentences suggesting a different approach. If your judgment labels this as a personal shortcoming or a difficult assessment, you will feel protective and upset. But if you can set aside that initial judgment and see it as mere perspective, a point of view to be considered objectively, everything changes. You can sift through it calmly. Is there useful insight here I can use to grow? Is this simply a difference of opinion? By separating the event from your story about the event, you regain your footing and your power to choose a thoughtful response. So bring to mind a recent moment of frustration. It could be a traffic delay, a changed plan, or a direct comment from a colleague. Now gently pull apart the experience. What was the simple, factual event? And what was the judgment you layered on top of it that caused the real distress? There is a hidden strength in simply saying yes to what is already true. This is the art of acquiescence, a wise and active acceptance of reality exactly as it presents itself, without the exhausting inner struggle of futile resistance. It is not passive resignation, which is a surrender born from feeling powerless. Acquiescence is a conscious choice to flow with events instead of fighting against their current, preserving your energy for what truly matters. The Roman philosopher Seneca captured the sheer folly of doing otherwise when he wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality. To argue with what is necessary is to create a second layer of hardship on top of the situation itself." Think of a common modern frustration, a sudden flight cancellation. The stressful reaction involves fighting the reality, mentally replaying the unfairness, complaining loudly, and allowing frustration to cloud your judgment. This struggle changes nothing about the grounded aircraft, but it drains you completely. The path of acquiescence begins with a single, quiet thought. This is what has happened. You accept the cancellation as a present fact, not as a personal injustice. This mental shift instantly frees your energy. Instead of being consumed by the problem, you can now focus on new solutions, rebooking the next flight, finding a comfortable place to wait, or using the unexpected time to read or rest. The circumstance has not changed, but your entire experience of it has been transformed from a battle into a manageable event. Now, bring to mind one of those small, recurring irritations in your own life. It might be the daily traffic jam on your commute, a slow-moving line at the grocery store, or the particular habits of a family member that always seem to grate on you. Notice how much mental space is occupied by your resistance to it, by the internal commentary about how it should be different. What would happen if, just for one day, you practiced acquiescence? If you met that reality not with a fight, but with a calm acknowledgement, saving all that precious energy for the parts of your life you can actually shape and improve. Your character is the only thing the world cannot take from you. For the Stoics, this was the foundation of a clear life, the radical idea that virtue, and virtue alone, is the only true good. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, these are the qualities of an excellent character, and they represent a form of wealth that exists entirely within your control. Everything else we typically chase, money, reputation, comfort, even our physical health, were seen by the ancients as preferred indifference. This means they have no moral value in themselves. They are neither good nor bad, but can be chosen or set aside based on whether they support a virtuous life. This single distinction cuts through the noise of modern decision-making like a laser. It shifts the entire goal of your life from seeking external validation to building an unshakable inner integrity. The Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus put it plainly when he said that virtue is not only sufficient for happiness but indispensable. You cannot be truly well-lived without it. Imagine facing a modern professional dilemma. You discover a costly error in a project you managed, an error that nobody else has noticed. Reporting it will likely mean a missed bonus, some embarrassment, and perhaps a difficult conversation with your team. Keeping it quiet ensures you receive the reward and avoid the short-term discomfort. A choice guided by external outcomes points toward silence, but the Stoic framework asks a different, more fundamental question. Which path aligns with justice and honesty, the core virtues of a good character? The virtuous choice is to report the error, to take responsibility, and to learn from the experience. The bonus and the temporary approval of others are preferred indifference. They are nice to have but ultimately irrelevant to your moral worth. The real prize, the only genuine good you secure in that moment, is your own integrity. That is a possession no market crash can devalue and no critic can diminish. So, bring to mind a significant decision from your own past. As you reflect on it now, ask yourself, was your choice guided primarily by a concern for an external reward, for a specific outcome you wanted to secure, or was it guided by the quiet pursuit of virtue, by what you knew to be right and good in your own heart? We often move through our days surrounded by gifts we no longer see. The modern world encourages a state of constant wanting, which blinds us to the profound value of what is already here. The Stoics developed a powerful mental exercise to break this trance, a practice known as negative visualization. This is the deliberate act of contemplating the temporary nature of the people and things we cherish, not to invite fear, but to ignite a deeper, more vibrant gratitude for their presence right now. Seneca regularly engaged in this reflection, urging his readers to remember that all things mortal are close to their natural end. He was not being grim, but profoundly practical. By willingly considering the possibility of change, we strip away the numbness of habit and rediscover the sheer miracle of a functioning body, a loyal friend, or a safe home. Think of a person who is a steady presence in your life, someone whose support you might almost take for granted. Now, for just a moment, imagine your world without them. Picture the quiet where their voice would be, the space where their presence once stood. This mental exercise is not meant to cause distress, but to accomplish the exact opposite. When you return your attention to the reality that they are still here, your appreciation for them is suddenly fresh and immediate. The minor frustrations you may have felt with them moments before seem to fade into irrelevance against the backdrop of their irreplaceable value. This practice recalibrates your entire perception. The morning coffee becomes a gift of warmth and aroma. The ability to walk freely down the street becomes a small marvel. Your attention shifts from what is missing to the incredible abundance that is already present. So, take a quiet moment for yourself. Bring to mind one thing you deeply value, perhaps your health, your sight, or the comfort of your home. Now, vividly imagine what your daily experience would be like if it were suddenly gone. Notice the immediate, heartfelt surge of thankfulness for its existence in your life today. This is not a lesson in absence, but a masterclass in the art of truly seeing. The most profound motivation is rooted in a simple, universal truth. Our time here is beautifully limited. The Stoic practice of Memento Mori, which translates to remember you must transition, is not a dark obsession with an ending, but a luminous reminder to make your beginning and middle count. This ancient exercise is about transforming the awareness of life's natural flow into a powerful force for living with more purpose right now. Marcus Aurelius guided himself with this very thought, writing, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. He was not suggesting a life of frantic activity, but one of deep intention, free from the petty distractions that so easily consume our days. Think of the modern habit of procrastination, where we delay a difficult but meaningful conversation, or put off starting a creative project, telling ourselves there is always tomorrow. Memento Mori gently dismantles that illusion. It asks us to consider what we would do differently if we knew our time was truly short. The answer rarely involves checking more emails or scrolling through another social media feed. It points directly toward reconciliation, creation, and presence. This practice brings immediate clarity to how you structure your hours. It asks a simple, piercing question of every task. Is this merely busy work, or is it a meaningful contribution? Does this activity align with my deepest values, or am I simply filling a slot on a calendar? When you choose to work on a project that genuinely matters to you over answering non-urgent messages, that is Memento Mori in action. It is the decision to spend your one precious life building something of substance. So let me ask you this, a question meant not to frighten but to focus. If you knew with certainty that you had 1 year left to live, what would you stop doing almost immediately? And what long-neglected action would you start today? The clarity of your answer reveals everything about the path you are meant to be walking right now. Every event in your life, from the most joyous to the most challenging, is woven into a single, intelligent fabric. The ancient Stoics called this the logos, a rational and benevolent principle ordering the cosmos. This is the concept of providence, the profound trust that nothing happens in isolation, and that even our greatest hardships serve a purpose within a grand, interconnected whole. Marcus Aurelius consistently returned to this anchor, writing, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This is not a call to blind faith, but an invitation to see with wider eyes. In a modern world where news cycles highlight uncertainty and personal setbacks can feel utterly random, this framework offers a powerful antidote to discouragement. It asks us to consider that what appears as a disruption to our plan might actually be a correction to our path. Think of a missed opportunity you once reflected on, perhaps a job you did not get despite your best efforts. In the moment, it feels like a definitive closing, a door gently shutting, but viewed through the lens of providence, that closed door is no longer a failure. It is a redirection. Perhaps that role would have demanded so much of your time that you would have missed the early years of your child's life. Maybe the company underwent a significant transition 6 months later, or perhaps saying no to that path created the empty space necessary for a much better fit to walk in, one that aligned perfectly with your skills and values. The poet Cleans, in his hymn to Zeus, expressed this trusting surrender, writing, "Lead me, O Zeus, and thou, O destiny, to the goal which you have set for me. I will follow without hesitation." This is the essence of finding meaning in the complexity. It transforms your story from a series of random events into a journey of guided discovery, where every experience, especially the difficult ones, contributes to your strength and wisdom. So bring to mind a past challenge, a moment that felt like a pure detour. Now, with the gentle curiosity of a historian reviewing your own life, ask a new question. How did that very event protect me, strengthen a neglected part of my character, or ultimately steer me toward a person or a purpose I would have otherwise missed? The answer may not come instantly, but the act of asking re-enchants your past, revealing a hidden order within the apparent uncertainty. Our digital world creates a strange kind of loneliness, connecting us to everyone and yet to no one at all. This feeling of separation is an ancient problem with a Stoic solution, the principle of Sympatheia. This is the profound recognition that we are all woven into a single, living fabric, members of a universal community of reason. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this constantly, reminding himself that rational beings exist for the sake of one another. He saw our shared capacity for logic and virtue as the threads that bind the human family together. This is not a vague spiritual idea, but a practical call to see yourself as a citizen of the world. The Stoic teacher Hierocles illustrated this with his famous circles of concern. He asked us to imagine ourselves as the center of a series of concentric circles. The first, tight circle holds our immediate body and mind. The next encompasses our family, then our local community, then our country, and finally, the outermost circle holds all of humanity. Our moral task, he taught, is to continually draw those outer circles inward, to extend the same care and consideration we give to ourselves to people we have never met. This practice systematically dismantles the us versus them thinking that fuels so much modern conflict. Consider the challenge of environmental responsibility. It is easy to see a plastic bottle as a personal convenience or a distant recycling problem. But through the lens of Sympatheia, that single object is connected to the resources used for its creation, the worker in a manufacturing plant, the marine life affected by its disposal, and the future generations who will inherit the world we leave behind. Your relationship to that bottle is no longer a solitary transaction, but a single strand in a vast, interconnected web. Your choice to refuse it, reuse it, or recycle it conscientiously becomes a small act of civic duty to your global community. This perspective transforms how we approach even sharp political disagreements. We begin to see not an enemy, but a fellow citizen who shares the same fundamental capacity for reason, even if it is currently expressing itself in a way we cannot understand. Our goal shifts from defeating them to engaging with them, from winning an argument to strengthening the shared community we all inhabit. So here is a question to carry with you. How might your decisions today change, from the products you buy to the words you speak online, if you truly felt interconnected with every single person they will ultimately affect? Our world moves at the speed of a notification, demanding instant reactions to every message and minor crisis. This constant pressure to respond immediately is where so many of our regrets are born. The Stoics prescribed a simple yet radical intervention for this very problem, a deliberate pause. They taught that between any external event and your internal reaction, there exists a small but critical space. It is in this space that your freedom truly lives, where you can choose reason over raw impulse. Epictetus offered a clear instruction on this, reminding his students that we should not be carried away by the sheer force of an impression, but instead say, "Wait for me a little, O appearance. Let me see who you are and what you represent." This is the practice of inserting a moment of stillness between the spark of a feeling and the action that follows. Consider the all-too-familiar sting of an inflammatory email. The words trigger an immediate flush of frustration, a tightening in your chest, and your fingers fly to the keyboard, ready to craft a defensive, equally sharp reply. This is the moment to enact the Stoic pause. Instead of hitting reply, you stand up, you walk away from the screen. You might simply look out the window for a few breaths or pour a glass of water. You give the initial heated impression a few minutes to cool. In that quiet space, your rational mind has a chance to catch up. You can consider the sender's possible perspective, separate the factual content from the emotional tone, and decide if a response is even necessary or what a truly constructive one would look like. The next time you feel that sudden surge of a strong negative emotion, whether from a comment online or a tension in a conversation, make a quiet commitment to yourself. Pause for just 5 minutes before you take any action or speak any words. In that brief window, you are not being passive, you are being powerfully deliberate, reclaiming the authority over your own mind from the chaos of the moment. That challenging person in your life is not a barrier to your peace, but the very material for building it. Every interaction with a difficult colleague, a demanding family member, or a frustrating stranger presents the same fundamental choice. Will you let their actions dictate your inner state, or will you use the moment as a training ground for your own character? The thoughtful approach begins with a single, liberating insight. Others act from their own ingrained views, from a place of what they mistakenly believe to be right. When someone is sharp or demanding, they are not acting against you personally, but from a limited understanding of their own situation. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of this perspective, writing, "I must be patient with those who do not yet see, since in many ways I am still learning myself, and I sometimes miss the mark without even knowing it." This is not about making excuses for poor conduct, but about recognizing where it comes from. When you see the strong words of a colleague as the result of their own internal pressures or narrow viewpoint, the sting begins to fade. You are no longer the main focus, simply a momentary point of contact for their own unresolved challenges. This awareness becomes the ultimate tool for stepping back from friction. Think about the colleague who often changes timelines and offers feedback without clear guidance. Your first feeling might be to become defensive or to carry a quiet frustration that colors your whole day. The shift happens when you pause and consider what is truly yours to manage. You cannot control their lack of organization or their manner. That rests entirely with them. What you can influence is your own readiness, your way of communicating, and your emotional reply. You can choose to respond with calm, clarifying questions instead of reactive resistance. You can complete your work with integrity, no matter how their expectations shift. By focusing only on your own actions, you build a foundation of character that their conduct cannot shake. You choose not to be pulled into their turmoil, not by opposing them, but by grounding yourself. So bring to mind that one person you find genuinely hard to be around. Now apply the filter. What specific parts of their behavior lie outside your influence, and so do not deserve your emotional energy? And what single, thoughtful step is within your power to take the next time your paths cross, whether it is patience, clear communication, or simply the quiet choice not to engage? A life without principles drifts on the open sea, pushed by every passing wind and wave. This is why the Stoics insisted on building an inner compass, a set of core, pre-decided principles to guide your smallest actions and your largest choices. While modern life often encourages situational ethics, where our decisions shift with the context and the potential for personal gain, this approach can create a deep internal confusion. We become reactive, constantly recalibrating our moral position based on outside pressures. Epictetus identified the need for a solid foundation, stating, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig." If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. He was speaking of character, a ruling principle that must be cultivated with patience and intent. Take the simple, powerful principle of honesty. If you have pre-decided that you will be honest in all your dealings, a vast range of complex situations suddenly becomes clear. In a business negotiation, the temptation to exaggerate a capability or hide a minor weakness simply vanishes. The decision is already made. Your energy is not wasted in an internal debate over what you might get away with. It is channeled into presenting the genuine value you offer. In a personal relationship, when a difficult truth needs to be shared, the principle of honesty coupled with kindness provides the courage to speak and the wisdom to do so with care. The mental friction is gone, replaced by the quiet confidence of acting in alignment with who you have chosen to be. So, take a moment now. What is one core principle you want to consciously guide your decisions this week? It could be integrity, courage, or compassion. Write it down. Let that single, clear idea be the rudder for your ship in the days ahead. That inner compass we build needs a true north to guide it. The Stoics provided this with a powerful thought experiment, the contemplation of the sage. This is the practice of asking yourself a single, transformative question in moments of confusion or moral complexity. What would the ideal sage do in my situation? This figure, the perfectly wise and virtuous person, was never meant to be a real individual or an impossible standard of perfection. Instead, the sage is a mental model, a personification of pure reason and virtue that we can use to elevate our own thinking beyond our immediate fears and desires. In his letters, Seneca frequently invoked this ideal figure not as a goal to be perfectly reached, but as a star to navigate by, a constant reminder of what our own best self could look like in action. Imagine you are facing a common modern dilemma, the management of your personal finances. A tempting advertisement pulls at you, urging an immediate purchase on credit for something you want but do not genuinely need. Your immediate impulse might be to justify the spending, to focus on the short-term pleasure. Now, pause and consult your inner sage. How would a person embodying perfect wisdom and temperance approach this decision? The sage would see the object for what it is, a neutral thing that cannot provide lasting contentment. They would weigh the long-term security of saved resources against the fleeting satisfaction of acquisition. Their action would be guided not by impulse, but by a calm assessment of what truly supports a good and self-sufficient life. This simple act of mental role-playing creates a concrete benchmark, pulling you out of the emotional whirlwind and into a space of clear-headed principle. It is not about judging yourself for wanting the thing, but about aligning your final choice with your deeper values. So the next time you stand at a crossroads, whether it is a financial choice, a difficult conversation, or a question of how to spend your precious time, pause and ask yourself this. Not what is easiest, not what is most comfortable, but what action in this moment would embody the core virtues of wisdom and courage. The answer will not always be simple, but the process itself will always point you toward your own North Star. Our culture often equates a person's net worth with their actual worth as a human being. This single, pervasive assumption is the source of so much quiet anxiety and relentless striving. The Stoics offered a radical correction to this mindset by categorizing wealth as a preferred indifferent. This means money, possessions, and financial status are not good or bad in themselves. They are neutral tools, preferred when they are present because they can provide comfort and enable certain actions, but entirely indifferent to your ability to live a virtuous and excellent life. The true good, the only thing that constitutes a flourishing existence, is your own moral character, your virtue. This distinction is profoundly liberating. It means your self-respect is no longer held hostage by your bank account. Seneca, who himself experienced great wealth, wrote extensively on its wise use. He argued that riches are a good servant but a terrible master, and that the wise person uses money without ever becoming emotionally enslaved to it. He noted that true wealth is not in having great possessions but in having few wants. This perspective completely reframes financial security. It is no longer about accumulating a magic number that will finally make you happy, but about managing your resources wisely so they support your peace of mind, not disrupt it. This directly applies to one of the most significant modern dilemmas, career choice. You might stand at a crossroads between a high-paying role that conflicts with your values and a more modestly compensated path that aligns with your sense of purpose and integrity. The conventional approach urges you to follow the money. The Stoic framework asks a more fundamental question: which path allows you to exercise the virtues of justice, courage, and wisdom more fully? A lucrative career that demands ethical compromises will slowly erode your inner citadel. A path that aligns with virtue, even if it is less financially rewarding, builds your moral resilience day by day. This is not a call to romanticize poverty. The Stoic teacher Musonius Rufus taught that poverty is not an evil, but that complaining about poverty is. His point was that hardship, including financial constraint, is a circumstance to be met with character, not a verdict on your life's value. So, take a quiet moment to reflect on your own relationship with money. Does your pursuit of wealth support your growth in virtue, providing stability that allows you to be more generous and calm? Or does it distract from it, consuming your time and mental energy with a worry that you never have enough? The answer to this question reveals whether you own your possessions or whether, in a quiet way, they have begun to own you. Anger feels like a fire in the chest, a reaction our modern world seems to constantly ignite. The Stoics saw this powerful emotion not as a justified response, but as a brief form of confusion, a fever of the mind rooted in a single, flawed judgment, the belief that we have been deliberately wronged. Seneca dedicated an entire work to this subject, and his analysis remains startlingly relevant. He described anger as a temporary collapse of reason, writing, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Give it a pause, allow the first heat to subside, and the cloud that shrouds the mind will often lift on its own. The key to dissolving anger lies in challenging the initial story we tell ourselves. We must pause and question the judgment that someone set out with the specific intention to cause us harm. Could there be another, more likely explanation for their actions? Consider the all-too-common experience of road frustration. Another driver moves abruptly into your lane. The immediate, fiery thought is that they are disrespectful, aggressive, or intentionally careless. This judgment fuels the anger, tightening your grip on the wheel. But what if you insert that crucial Stoic pause? What if their action was not a personal insult, but a moment of distraction, a genuine mistake born from a stressful day, or even a panicked reaction to something happening in their own car? The event itself, the car changing lanes, remains the same, but the story you attach to it completely transforms, and with it, your emotional response. The fire loses its fuel. This cognitive shift applies just as powerfully to a heated family disagreement. A sharp comment from a relative feels like a deep sting, a deliberate attack on your character. The anger rises to defend yourself, but what if you challenge that initial judgment before you speak? Could their words be stemming from their own fatigue, from a place of worry they do not know how to express, or from a simple misunderstanding? Recognizing this possibility does not excuse harshness, but it does disarm the personal slight that anger needs to survive. The next time you feel that familiar heat beginning to rise, pause for just 5 seconds. In that small space, challenge the automatic thought that you have been intentionally harmed. Ask yourself gently, is there another, less personal explanation for what just happened? This simple question is your first step back to calm, a quiet reclamation of your own inner peace from the grip of a temporary confusion. Your own mind holds the blueprint for its own transformation. The simple act of journaling is the most direct way to access it, a daily ritual of self-examination that turns abstract philosophy into lived wisdom. This was the quintessential Stoic exercise, a quiet conversation with oneself to review the day, plan for the next, and hold your actions accountable to your deepest principles. We are fortunate that the personal reflections of the Emperor Marcus Aurelius survive in his Meditations, a work never intended for publication. It stands as a powerful testament to this practice, a person of immense responsibility repeatedly reminding himself of fundamental truths, questioning his own judgments, and realigning his character with virtue. In our modern world of constant external input, this practice is a radical act of turning inward, creating a sanctuary for mindfulness and intentional living. It is how you build the inner citadel, one brick at a time. The process can be beautifully simple and need not take long. Tonight, before you rest, try this for just 5 minutes. Find a quiet space and ask yourself 2 questions rooted in Stoic themes. First, what did I do well today? This is not about celebrating grand achievements, but about acknowledging moments where you acted with patience, kindness, or integrity, perhaps in a situation where you would have previously reacted with frustration. The second question is, where could I have been more aligned with my values? This is not an invitation for self-criticism, but for gentle, honest reflection. Was there a moment you avoided a necessary conversation out of discomfort? Did you spend energy focusing on something outside your influence? This brief review closes the day with clarity and sets a compassionate intention for tomorrow. Your journal becomes the quiet, trusted guide that helps you see your progress and your potential, turning daily life into your most meaningful classroom. A quiet like button holds more power over our daily mood than we might care to admit. We live in an age of personal branding, where reputation is treated as a currency and fame as the ultimate measure of a life well lived. The ancient Stoics looked at this very human desire for recognition and offered a radical redefinition of what truly matters. They placed reputation firmly in the category of preferred indifference, alongside wealth and physical comfort. It is nice to have, but it is not good in itself, and it must never be purchased at the cost of your integrity. The good, the only thing that is genuinely worthy of your pursuit, is your own virtuous character. The teacher Epictetus gave a direct instruction on this, reminding his students not to seek the good in external places, but to find it within their own reasoned choices. This is the ultimate shift from managing your image to building your essence. Think of a modern content creator standing at a moral crossroads. One path leads toward creating a sensational, slightly misleading video that plays on fears and is almost guaranteed to go viral. The other path involves producing a thoughtful, deeply researched piece that tells a more complex truth, but may only reach a small, dedicated audience. The first option trades integrity for visibility. The second chooses character over celebrity. The fleeting high of viral fame cannot compare to the lasting peace that comes from knowing your work is honest and aligned with your principles. That sense of inner congruence is a reward no algorithm can ever take away. So, let me ask you a question meant for quiet reflection. In your own life, how much time and mental energy do you spend carefully cultivating your image for others, compared to the energy you invest in genuinely cultivating your character in private where no one is watching? The balance between these two efforts reveals everything about where you have placed the source of your self-worth. Everything around you is in motion, from the careers that define us to the very technology in our hands. This constant pace of transformation is not a disruption of life, it is life itself. The Stoics understood that our deepest frustrations often arise from trying to anchor ourselves in a river that never stops flowing. Their wisdom was to not just accept this current, but to learn to move with it. The ancient philosopher Heraclitus, a profound influence on Stoic thought, captured this reality with his famous observation that no one ever steps in the same river twice. The river has changed, and so has the person. Marcus Aurelius echoed this in his private writings, reminding himself that the universe is transformation, and life is but what you make of it. This is not a call to passive surrender, but a strategy for thoughtful navigation. Fighting the natural flow of existence is like trying to hold back the tide with your bare hands. It is an exhausting and ultimately fruitless effort that only leads to more struggle. When you release that resistance, you free up an immense amount of energy previously spent on a battle you could never win. That energy is then redirected into the one thing you can always influence: your ability to adapt, to learn, and to find your footing on new ground. Consider the significant career shift so many face today. An entire field can be reshaped by a new discovery, making a lifelong skill set seem suddenly less central. The instinctual reaction is often one of worry, a strong attempt to hold on to the way things were. The Stoic approach is to see this not as a personal failure or an unfairness, but as part of the natural order. The river has turned. By accepting this new reality without judgment, you can calmly assess your position. You can ask, what skills can I learn now? What new possibilities does this very change reveal? This mindset transforms a challenge into a chapter of growth, allowing you to pivot with purpose instead of being held back by what came before. So, take a quiet moment to look at your own life. Where are you currently resisting a change that is already happening? Is it in your professional role, a relationship dynamic, or your own personal habits? Now, gently explore what might shift if you stopped fighting that current. What new energy would become available to you if you simply accepted the flow and began to move with it rather than against it? Your daily actions, from sending an email to making a family meal, are not just items on a checklist. They are expressions of your role within a vast, interconnected community. This is the Stoic concept of duty, a clear map for living with purpose by acting in accordance with your specific place in the world. Where modern life often frames duty as a burden or an obligation tangled with self-interest, the Stoics saw it as the very architecture of a meaningful life. It is about recognizing the part you are meant to play in the universal human story and performing it with wholehearted diligence. Marcus Aurelius constantly guided himself with this principle, writing, "Let every action aim solely at the common good." He reminded himself to perform each task as if it were the most important thing in the world, while holding the inner freedom to know that the outcome is not entirely his to command. This mindset transforms everyday responsibilities into meaningful contributions. Think of the role of a parent. In a modern context, it is easy to let the duty of caring for a child feel secondary to professional ambitions or personal leisure. The desire to work late or scroll through a device can pull you away from the present moment with your family. The Stoic framework, however, places this role at the very center of your purpose. The duty to guide, nurture, and love your child is not a distraction from your life. It is a fundamental expression of it. Choosing to read a bedtime story with your full attention, even when you are tired, is not a sacrifice. It is the fulfillment of a profound responsibility you have willingly accepted. This is the core of it. Your duty is not to your fleeting desires, but to the role itself. The quiet satisfaction that comes from this kind of faithful action far outweighs the temporary pleasure of any distraction. So, take a moment and mentally list your own key roles in life. You are a friend, a colleague, a citizen, a family member, a neighbor. For each of these roles, you hold a set of implied duties. Now, gently reflect on this question. Are your daily actions and your mental energy faithfully aligned with the true duties of these roles, or are they being pulled off course by less meaningful pursuits? The clarity of your answer can reveal the path to a life not just of busyness, but of genuine, unwavering purpose. We often speak of not having enough time, yet we treat our days as an infinite resource. This is the great paradox Seneca exposed in his letters on the shortness of life. He observed that life is long enough if you know how to use it, but we are not poor in years, we are wasteful of them. We allow our most precious asset to be frittered away by distraction, by the endless pursuit of things that do not nourish the soul. This Stoic emphasis on life's natural limit is not a fixation on endings. It is the ultimate clarion call to action, a profound reminder to stop postponing your life. The modern feeling of time poverty does not come from a lack of hours, but from a misallocation of our attention toward the trivial and the transient. We scroll through feeds filled with other people's curated moments, while our own unlived hours slip quietly into the past. Seneca put his finger directly on this truth when he wrote, "You are living as if destined to live forever. Your own frailty never occurs to you. You act as if all things are mortal and you immortal." This awareness cuts through the noise of a typical weekend. Faced with the choice between another hour of passive streaming or a walk with a loved one where real conversation can happen, the shortness of life makes the decision for you. It asks which of these moments you will genuinely remember, which will become a part of the story you tell about your life. It guides you to choose the chapter you are actively writing over the one you are merely watching. So, as this week unfolds before you, carry this single question. What is one time-wasting activity you can consciously reduce this week to make room for what truly matters? There is a hidden ingredient in every Stoic action, a quiet phrase that safeguards your peace while you chase your most ambitious goals. This is the reserve clause, a simple mental addition to any plan you make. It means undertaking every endeavor with the silent understanding that circumstances may unfold in their own way. You pour your entire effort into the process, while internally accepting from the very beginning that the final outcome is not yours to command. The Stoic teacher Epictetus captured this delicate balance perfectly, advising his students to undertake a project while leaving the result to a higher order of things. This is the ultimate fusion of ambition and serenity, a way to strive without being broken by the results. Think of the immense effort involved in planning a major life event like a wedding. You can meticulously choose the flowers, curate the guest list, and plan every moment of the ceremony. These are your actions, and you perform them with care and dedication. The reserve clause is the quiet thought you hold alongside all that effort, the gentle acknowledgement that a sudden change in the weather could arrive, or a personal health matter could require a shift in plans. You are not planning for these things to happen, but you are making peace with the possibility that they might. This mental preparation does not diminish your excitement, it deepens your resilience. It ensures that if the day unfolds differently than you envisioned, your inner peace is not swept away with it. You controlled what was yours to control, your preparation and your intention, and you released the rest. This same principle applies to any significant modern pursuit, from launching a new business to preparing for a crucial job interview. You research, you practice, you prepare with everything you have. And you simultaneously hold the outcome lightly with the inner phrase, circumstances permitting. This is not a lack of confidence, but a profound confidence in your own ability to adapt and find value, no matter which path reality takes. So bring to mind a current goal you are working toward. Now, as you think about your next steps, introduce the reserve clause into your mindset. Mentally prepare for all possibilities, both the one you hope for and the ones you might be concerned about. How does holding this quiet acceptance in your heart change the quality of your effort, freeing you from the weight of a single, demanded result? These ancient frameworks converge on a single, liberating truth. The complexity of modern life cannot be controlled, but your mind's response to it can be mastered. From the initial act of sorting what is within your power to the final acceptance of a universal flow, each Stoic tool carves away the noise of the external world to reveal the quiet clarity of your own reasoned choice. Your peace was never meant to be found in a perfect outcome, a constant stream of validation, or a life free from difficulty. It is built piece by piece through the daily discipline of aligning your judgments and actions with virtue. Marcus Aurelius left us a final, unifying thought on this simplicity. He wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within your way of thinking." This is the heart of the matter. A good life is not an impossible puzzle. It is the cumulative effect of small, consistent choices, of pausing before you react, of loving the path you are actually on, and of doing the next right thing for the common good. Let these principles be more than a one-time insight. Weave them into the fabric of your days. Make them your inner compass when the world feels overwhelming. And as you begin this practice, we would love to hear from you. Which single Stoic idea offered you the most immediate sense of clarity? Share your reflection in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation as a community, learning to navigate our complex world with a little more wisdom and a great deal more